In a startling development, Chicago's homeless population has skyrocketed to nearly 19,000, a threefold increase from the previous year. The primary driver behind this surge? An influx of 13,900 asylum-seekers who have found themselves without permanent places to stay. As the city grapples with this unprecedented challenge, it has become clear that the complex intersection of immigration, economic hardship, and homelessness demands our urgent attention. With Black Chicagoans already disproportionately affected by homelessness, the added strain of accommodating migrants has stretched the city's resources to their limits. The homelessness crisis has been exacerbated by a complex interplay of socioeconomic factors, with the lack of affordable housing and economic hardship at the forefront. The city's growing income inequality has left many residents struggling to make ends meet, as the cost of living continues to rise while wages remain stagnant. This precarious financial situation has pushed countless individuals and families to the brink of homelessness, with even minor setbacks having the potential to upend their lives. Compounding this issue is the severe shortage of affordable housing options in Chicago. The city's housing market has become increasingly expensive, with rents and home prices soaring beyond the reach of many low-income residents. Despite efforts to increase the supply of supportive and rapid rehousing beds, the demand for affordable housing continues to outstrip the available resources. The city saw a 10% increase in permanent supportive housing beds to 9,165, and a 42% increase in rapid rehousing beds to 2,979. Yet these measures have proven insufficient in the face of the growing crisis. The influx of migrants and asylum-seekers has further strained Chicago's already overburdened housing and support systems, with over 13,900 asylum-seekers arriving in the city without permanent places to stay. The homeless population has swelled to unprecedented levels. These individuals often face additional barriers to securing stable housing, such as long waits for work permits and limited access to rental assistance. As Daniel Vizcaino, a Venezuelan asylum seeker, poignantly stated, "I thought coming to the United States would change my life. I would have security, peace of mind, but it's been very different." The separate shelter systems for migrants and local homeless populations currently compete for limited resources, creating a fragmented and inefficient approach to addressing the crisis. The city's plan to unify these systems may streamline resources, but it is likely to increase the demand for shelter beds even further. As the homelessness crisis in Chicago continues to escalate, the strain on the city's public services and resources is becoming increasingly apparent. The healthcare and criminal justice systems, in particular, are grappling with the consequences of this growing problem, as they struggle to meet the complex needs of the homeless population. The ripple effect of Chicago's homelessness crisis extends far beyond the individuals directly impacted, placing a heavy strain on the city's healthcare and criminal justice systems. As the number of people experiencing homelessness continues to rise, these critical public services are grappling with the consequences of increased demand and the complex needs for this vulnerable population. Healthcare systems, in particular, are facing higher utilization rates and prolonged hospital stays for homeless individuals. Studies have shown that people experiencing homelessness visit emergency departments approximately 3 times more often than the general population and have longer hospital stays, leading to higher healthcare costs. The average cost for frequent emergency department visits by homeless patients can exceed a staggering $64,000 annually, underscoring the immense financial burden on the city's healthcare infrastructure. The criminal justice system is also bearing the brunt of the homelessness crisis. A homeless individual often encounter police and are incarcerated more frequently, partly due to laws that target homelessness, such as those against panhandling and loitering. The costs associated with police intervention and incarceration for homeless individuals are substantial, with cities like Boulder, Colorado, spending $1.8 million at least annually enforcing anti-homeless ordinances, and Los Angeles allocating upwards of $87.3 million on police interactions with the homeless population. Chicago's economic hardship has only served to exacerbate the homelessness crisis, as the city's housing market has become increasingly unaffordable. And the end of pandemic-era support has left many residents in an even more precarious position. Maura McCauley, Managing Deputy Commissioner for the Chicago Department of Family and Support Services, noted, "We really think that's because pandemic-era supports like SNAP benefits and stimulus resources from the state and federal government came to an end between 2022 and 2023. The economic and social impact of the homelessness crisis is further evidenced by the reduction in the number of people exiting to permanent housing and the increased duration of homelessness. From 2023 to 2024, there was an alarming 18% reduction in the number of individuals transitioning to permanent housing, a trend linked to staffing shortages and systemic issues that limit the inflow of new participants into housing programs. Consequently, the average length of homelessness has risen to 843 days, a 38-day increase from the previous year, highlighting the growing challenges faced by those seeking to escape the cycle of homelessness. As Chicago grapples with the multifaceted challenges posed by the homelessness crisis, policymakers and community leaders are faced with the daunting task of developing comprehensive solutions that address the root causes of homelessness while providing immediate relief to those in need. The city's attempts to manage the surge in homelessness through increased shelter capacity and other services have been met with mixed results, including unsanitary conditions and outbreaks of illnesses, like measles in the shelters, underscoring the urgent need for a more coordinated and effective response. With the homelessness crisis showing no signs of abating, the path forward for Chicago remains uncertain. As the city navigates the complex interplay of economic, social, and policy factors contributing to the rise in homelessness, innovative solutions and collaborative efforts will be essential in addressing the needs of this vulnerable population and mitigating the far-reaching consequences of this crisis. As Chicago confronts the multifaceted challenges posed by the homelessness crisis, the role of immigration policy in exacerbating the problem, particularly for asylum seekers, cannot be overlooked. The influx of over 13,900 asylum seekers without permanent places to stay has placed an immense strain on the city's already overburdened housing and support systems. The lack of rental assistance and difficulty obtaining work permits have left many migrants in a precarious position, with fears of becoming homeless after shelter evictions looming large. Addressing these systemic barriers to housing and employment for asylum seekers is crucial in mitigating the impact of immigration on Chicago's homelessness crisis. Potential solutions to navigate these challenges include expanding supportive housing programs, improving job accessibility, and increasing education and apprenticeship opportunities. Supportive housing, which combines permanent, affordable housing with wraparound services, has proven to be an effective intervention. In Portland, moving individuals into supportive housing led to an impressive $8,724 reduction in annual Medicaid expenditures per person just 1 year after housing placement. The Housing First model, which provides permanent supportive housing without prerequisites like sobriety, has demonstrated significant cost offsets across various systems, including healthcare and criminal justice. Enhancing job accessibility for homeless individuals and asylum seekers is another critical component in addressing the crisis. Expanding education and apprenticeship programs can help mitigate homelessness by increasing employability and reducing poverty. Chicago could collaborate with manufacturing, technology, and trade companies to create more apprenticeship opportunities, equipping individuals with the skills and experience needed to secure stable employment. Furthermore, reducing occupational licensing requirements could make it easier for individuals to secure employment, thereby lowering the risk of homelessness. Chicago's initiatives to tackle the homelessness crisis, such as the unified shelter system and the repurposing of downtown office buildings into residential units, represent steps in the right direction. The city's plan to create a unified shelter system by 2025 aims to streamline resources and improve efficiency in addressing the needs of both asylum seekers and longtime residents experiencing homelessness. Beatrice Ponce de Leon, Mayor Brandon Johnson's deputy mayor for immigrant, migrant, and refugee rights, expressed confidence in the city's ability to provide the necessary capacity, stating, "We absolutely have the funding streams to be able to provide the capacity that is needed." The proposed repurposing of downtown office buildings into residential units seeks to increase the supply of affordable housing, a critical factor in preventing and alleviating homelessness. This initiative comes on the heels of the defeat of a proposal to increase taxes on high-end property sales to fund homelessness solutions, underscoring the need for innovative approaches to bolster affordable housing options. The Johnson administration's $1.25 billion bond plan, which utilizes funds from expiring tax increment financing districts, is another promising effort to increase affordable housing in the city. Chicago's homelessness crisis is a poignant reflection of the complex socioeconomic inequalities plaguing our society. The alarming surge in the city's homeless population, exacerbated by a wave of asylum seekers without permanent housing, demands immediate and coordinated action from policymakers, community leaders, and citizens alike. As we grapple with the far-reaching consequences of this crisis on healthcare, criminal justice, and the economy, it is imperative that we invest in data-driven solutions and policies that address the root causes of homelessness. From expanding supportive housing programs and improving job accessibility to reducing systemic barriers and stigma, the path forward requires a collective commitment to upholding human rights and fostering a more equitable society. As Chicagoans, it is our moral obligation to critically examine the socioeconomic impact of homelessness and actively contribute to the development and implementation of effective compassionate solutions. Only through unified efforts and unwavering determination can we hope to alleviate the suffering of our most vulnerable residents and build a brighter, more inclusive future for all. To learn more about how other cities are tackling the homelessness crisis, watch our video on how Finland solved homelessness. As mentioned earlier in this video, the Housing First model has proven to be a successful approach in reducing homelessness and its associated costs, offering valuable insights for Chicago and other cities grappling with this pressing issue.